Happy Friday, folks! This is the longest ever title for a video, but I'm painting one of the fairy tales again in a fairy tale book. It's one of the Grimm fairy tales again, and I'm starting out with a sketch of a bucket with a fish jumping out of it on some very smooth paper here that I'm going to color with colored pencils. Since it's August and I'm working with mixed media and with colored pencils for artwork this month, I thought, oh, why not combine the two? I like to have mixed media in the books, in the fairy tale book here, but I thought I should make colored pencils part of this one. So once I had the bucket sketched out, I did sketch out a person sleeping in a bed. It's a king, actually. The story is, or what, why I did draw this particular piece here for the fairy tale is gonna be on the blog post, together with a material list and lots of close-up photos and information on all the other artwork that I published this week, so hop on over if you want to find out. Once I had my sketch done, I went over the lines with a permanent ink marker just to have the illustration kind of a look there, and then I'm going to color all of the pieces in with colored pencils, and I'm gonna smooth it out with paint thinner just to get rid of the white tiny sections that you have when you color with colored pencils. Being rather rough with the way I color here because I don't care about the lines. Since I'm having the paint thinner on top, I can smooth out all of those lines that you still can see here. It's gonna be looking way less colored pencil-ish. You know what I mean. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to work with the pencils on this paper and just have a funny drawing or illustration, sketch, whatever you want to call it. I'm giving the bottom a bit of a shade there and coloring in the fish as well. I'm trying to use the same colors over and over again, so I'm not using all of the colored pencils that I have in every shade that they come in. I'm usually using only very few and mix up the colors in different kinds of layers, and that is very pleasing to the eye because it looks harmonic since you have color repetition, and I'm very big on that. So same goes for the other drawing as well, coloring with the same colors, adding a bit of a skin tone there, but the majority of the colors are going to be blue, brown and yellow, so I'm using the ones that I also used for the bucket. Once I had that done, I could put the drawings to the side and work on the backdrop layer. I'm gonna cut out all of the pieces here, so the bed and also the bucket. I'm gonna cut them out and have them be glued to the book pages in a minute here. But first I gotta color the book. So these are the two pages, and I'm going to use acrylics for the background, painting a solid layer of blue just to have repetition to the drawings that I just did. And I'm going to use, I don't know what it's called, I'm gonna find out before I write the blog post. And I'm going to use kind of like a stencil there once I had this blue layer dry, and I'm going to spray white paint through those tiny little squares, which makes a nice pattern. I have to find out what it's called, that thing in English. You can see that I'm using it quite a bit. I'm having a ton of that material. I think you use it for drywalling or something. I got it from the German equivalent of Home Depot. So I have to find out what it's called. But I'm spraying through that thing, through that stencil with white acrylic spray paint. I'm gonna let it dry and then cut out my images here, and then I'm gonna glue them down to the double spread here. Just using normal crafting glue, nothing fancy there. Holding it in place for a second just to give the glue a chance to bind everything together, and I'm putting something heavy on top so that the paper doesn't curl and warp, and I'm using some wooden pieces because I just had them laying around. And then I'm just gonna give the whole thing a frame. You probably know by now, if you follow me for a while, that I like to do that every so often, and I'm using a glitter pen for that because it just is a nice thing. Also, I need to have the bubble with a white permanent marker for the dream because, well, that person is probably, well, he's dreaming of the bucket with a fish. So I'm going in with white permanent marker just to have, well, a very clean white line there. Didn't want to go in with acrylics and a liner brush. Didn't feel like it. But yeah, but now the frame comes with the glitter pen, and then I'm done. I hope you enjoyed watching along. If you want to find out what inspired me from that fairy tale to paint exactly the scenery, or if you want to see close-up photos or have exact names of the materials I used, hop on over to my blog. Have a lovely weekend, folks. Take good care, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate that. I will see you very soon on the next video. Have fun. Bye-bye.